Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome today to today's webinar, part of our fall series here at HubEngage. And my name is Yash Chithre. I'm the Senior Vice President here at HubEngage. And I will be your host for today's session, in which we're going to cover how to lead in uncertain times with an employee communications app platform. And looks like, as we usually have in the past, we do have a good mix of folks registered for today's webinar, and I think some people might be joining just a couple minutes late, but we'll go ahead and get started. We do have some current customers and stakeholders on today as well as some new folks looking to deploy an employee experience platform such as HubEngage, so that's great. I really hope that today's presentation helps you make the case to your leadership why and just how useful a tool like this can be in uncertain times like these. So with that, let's go ahead and get started with today's presentation. So here's a quick agenda of what we're going to be covering in our time together today. We'll briefly start by reflecting on the COVID-19 working environment, what this means for different employee populations, and what's at stake for them if you don't communicate effectively from the top. From there, we'll quickly jump into the theme of today's topic, getting to some of the specifics, which is how exactly to get your message across as a leader, right? So specifically, we'll talk about extending your mission, vision, and values when you really can't gather face-to-face. We'll take a look at specific tactics that you can do inside a digital employee experience platform like HubEngage. That'll help you reach your employees no matter where they are. And of course, we'll wrap up with some Q&A. We've got some pre-submitted questions as well. I think we have the Q&A enabled today as well. So if anybody wanted to ask a question in real time, you could certainly do that as well. And if you have additional questions after the session today, feel free to shoot them over via email, and I'll be happy to keep the conversation going with you. And of course, because you attended the webinar, you're going to get an advanced, not yet published copy of our 2021 planning guide that has all the important stuff to consider, plus a handy checklist, a scorecard that's going to help you navigate the employee experience waters should you decide to deploy a solution. So definitely look for that in your email box as well. And those of you who attended previous webinars, you should have received that already. So we did send out a whole bunch of those today. Let me know if you didn't get it. We will get that out to you ASAP as well. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. So as pretty much every initiative has been impacted this year, we have to start with the current COVID-19 impact. That's put companies into a scramble to effectively communicate literally everything to their employees in an easy-to-access fashion. Now, this is important not just for getting vital and critical information out, but also keeping folks engaged and in tune with the mission, vision, and values of the organization as well. And one area that has particularly struggled with this is leadership and executive communications. Leaders find it hard to stay out in front of employees, just keeping them motivated and inspiring your people to do their jobs every day with passion and dedication and having a customer-first centric state of mind. Whereas in the past, a leader could travel to, let's say, a manufacturing location, or maybe you have a corporate campus, and talk firsthand with employees and even customers, if you're in a customer-facing business, about fostering innovation, current company priorities, initiatives, market conditions, all these types of things. Now, today, the leader is bound to Zoom town meetings and sending out mass emails or even blasting out recorded phone calls in some cases. So it's really put a strain on executive communications and for people with high-level personas to really get out there and stay top of mind with employees. Now, there are two different working environments that you really have to address, right? Depending on your company, the types of employees that you have. Now, if your employees are lucky enough to be able to work from home and perform their jobs virtually, you'll want to address your communication stream in a particular way, right? Now, if you've got hourly employees that have to be customer facing or work in corporate environments, retail environments, manufacturing, etc., that's a different story, right? So, all these folks, I call them the heroes. They work in food service, healthcare, manufacturing, frontline employees. They really have no choice but to go in every single day. So those folks are going to require a different type of specialized communications and just an overall different experience as well. Now, let's kind of dig into both of these subsets a little bit, right? So if you're like me and you're lucky enough to do your job remotely from home, it can be a challenge to keep those types of employees engaged. And I think, as I was sort of creating this presentation for today and thinking about it, I thought the best way I could explain this is, frankly, to give you my own current situation, right? And maybe it strikes a common chord with what you're facing. So now, as a professional, while I have to work every day and have a full-time career, I also have to be a dad, I have to be a husband, I have to be a son, right? And I have to manage 3 small children of mine on a hybrid remote school schedule, fill in the blanks there with my wife, who also works full-time as an attorney. We have to do all the homeschooling, the tutoring, the usual homework, a whole lot of Zoom call, tech support, getting into virtual classrooms, all that kind of stuff as well, while we have to juggle our careers, right? And we're pretty much locked down here at home. We live just 30 miles north of Boston, and cases are spiking here again, so we're pretty much locked down. And we juggle all our available physical space to get the privacy we need to be productive, but still, operate the household and do the things that we have to do. So it's super important that my company keeps me engaged when I am working, right? When I'm at home. I have to be aligned with, what we're out to do with our product and make sure our customers are happy and get the most out of our platform. And that's why I'm doing this webinar right now, right? But because I'm not in the office as a leader in my company, I also need to know what's going on with my fellow colleagues, what's happening with, our sales, marketing, development, our engineering teams, HR, other departments that I have responsibilities across. So of course, we practice what we preach, and we have our own employee experience platform deployed globally to our employees around the world. And we keep in touch, post updates, participate in initiatives. We do things like not just work related, but also, fitness challenges. We have this hashtag commit to be fit thing going on right now. We did a whole series on how I work from home, where all our employees posted, pictures of, our home setups, a lot of dining room tables, a lot of kitchen tables. Sometimes it's just the bedroom. So we were able to share and sort of have the empathy across our organization of how we're all working from home. But we still have to maintain our normal initiatives as well inside of our company, right? So, for example, my wife is an attorney for a large insurance company here in Boston, but she's currently in a 6-week training course on diversity and inclusion. And she has to do that, right? Even if she has to do it from home. So these important social issues also need to be worked on despite this work from home remote situation. And at the same time, we have to grow our employees' skill set. We need to train them. We have to ask them to take certification courses, learn new skills, and further their knowledge base as well. So it's a juggling act for sure. But we have to continue to make sure that we're moving the ball and furthering the needle on all these other different things to keep the company going as well. Now, if you've got folks that have to go into work every day, right? What about those folks? What do they need? And again, I often say that these are the true heroes out there, because without them, right, our hourly employees, our blue-collar employees, the world literally stops. Whether you're a grocery store associate making sure there's bread on the shelves, or you're a cardiac surgeon performing a life-saving procedure, you have to step up to the plate and serve no matter what. So I truly believe these folks deserve the best support in the form of tailored communications and the right information at the right time and place so that they can then serve the customer best. Right now, the customer experience is not just memorable, it's totally critical. I mean, it's something that's mission critical for so many companies. It's serving that mom that needs to get food on the table. It's the son that needs to get prescriptions filled for an aging parent. Every task tells a story, and in today's world, it's often a critical need that's being fulfilled. So you not only have to arm these worker heroes with the information that they need to deliver, but also recognize them for their bravery, their courage to even come to work every day and literally risk their own health to keep the economy moving. So you really have to sort of examine, who are you communicating to and what types of communications are you putting out to these folks? So that really kind of brings us to the topic of today, right? Why is leadership important in everything that's going on today? So without leaders being vocal and upfront in the middle of a pandemic, you can lose the attention of employees. Your employer brand can erode over time, and the end consumer of your product or your service gets affected through a poor experience. And finally, your bottom line is affected when sales go down or can simply evaporate. This is what or should be keeping up any leader at night. How can he or she still continue to be top of mind to the employees so that they can do their jobs better? How can leaders help, right? What can they do to help their employees deliver on the mission, vision, and values of that organization? It's often said that you need to sell in to sell out, and that's not only apropos these days, it's totally critical. You really, really, really have to start with your employees in order to deliver on that great end user customer experience. So how do you do it, right? As a leader, what can I do to avoid this common pitfall? So what we've done is we've kind of boiled it down to 3 essential steps to getting leadership messaging across, right? So first and foremost, you want to start with a digital strategy that leverages technology available in advanced platforms like HubEngage, and you need to do that right now. You need to get that platform in place. You need to have a multi-channel approach to communicate on. So it's reaching 100% coverage of your employees, no matter what medium they use, right? If they're on phones, tablets, computers, even in-location TV screens, displays, you want to be able to reach them in the most convenient fashion possible, depending on, what type of work they're doing. And finally, you really need to have great content, right? It's the gas that goes in the engine. And you have to put that through tactics and deliver all kinds of information, not just the critical stuff, right? But also extended programming on a variety of initiatives. And do that through features like surveys, making it fun and gamification, learning, training, recognition, rewards, all this type of stuff. So all these kind of threads come together and will weave your fabric. And that's where leaders can really play a role. And they can help you as stakeholders as well, right? They can help you from the top push the initiatives through so that your employees take them seriously. They participate in it, they engage, you get the feedback, you get the metrics and the results. And overall, you move the needle on engagement. That's the whole goal of using a platform like this. So you have to have a digital platform, right? Like HubEngage that's in place that's going to reach all of your employees, no matter their role, location, geography, wherever they are, so that they have the information they need. And most importantly, you as a leader are recognized for doing your part to help them go farther. I think that's really, really important. And that's where a platform like this can be super powerful for leaders and, how they do it and what they do. So how do they do it, right? Let's talk about, some ideas and different tactics and different things that you can do inside a platform like this. So the idea, again, is to use the employee experience platform to inspire your people to stay focused, to keep them engaged. And also, this all goes into retention and recruiting. At some point, and I don't know, obviously nobody knows when the pandemic will be over, but when it is over, hopefully, economies do come raging back. At that time, you really need your employees engaged, right? Because they do need to be able to serve. And you do need a strong employer brand as well at that time, because you're going to need to attract new talent, right? You're going to have to find new people and get those brand ambassadors that represent your company the best with your mission, vision, and values, so that they can then go and sell the company out, as well and attract the type of talent and the ideal recruiting roles that you're looking for as well. So here's a couple of ideas that we kind of pulled out, and some of these are examples of some of our customers right now, but you really want to give your leaders their very own dedicated space to play inside of a platform like this, right? And make sure it's pinned right up to the top menu with high visibility so no one misses it. You know, you want to get it right into that scrolling menu right up top. And, you know, it's not just your CEO, right? I mean, you can involve all sorts of other folks inside of your organization, get other leaders, or even employee brand ambassadors, people that you want to make heroes and champion. Give them a visible location so that they can do the talking as well. And remember, in a platform like Hub Engage, you're doing everything based on segmentation, right? So you can decide who's seeing what menus and what submenus. So you might have the CEO kind of playing on everybody's you know, views, everybody's screens, right? So that everybody's seeing what the CEO is saying because, you know, he or she is the ultimate leader and supposed to be guiding the company. But then maybe by department or location, you're going to have other leaders, right? And only those leaders will show up for those employees, right? So you can segment that and, you know, have your departments, your locations, however, you know, your organization is set up. And also give them an opportunity to do some talking as well, right? Do some, you know, record some videos, maybe write some blog leadership thought leadership pieces, maybe just take quick videos on innovations or ideas or solicit feedback. You know, allow many layers of leadership to play in a platform like this. This allows them to do everything from home, right? Even if they're completely locked down and they can't be in many different places at once. They can do that using a platform like this and, you know, get the eyes that they need on them and get their voice across as well. So in this example that you see on screen, you see a well-regarded CEO of a major known household food processor, and he's got his own section in the content menu where he can post short videos, he can talk about innovations, he can get great, you know, share these great experiences that he might be having. He can really motivate and inspire right from his phone at home, right? He can ask questions, solicit comments and feedback, cross-share those best practices, and communicate effectively across the entire enterprise to both, you know, blue-collar and white-collar employees, corporate salaried folks, you know, essential employees and manufacturing, sales folks. It doesn't matter, right? So, you know, he can really get 100% coverage and reach everybody. So you see a tool like this becomes invaluable for executives to communicate to employees. They can push their agendas, they can increase their own personal brand. They love it for that reason alone. And also they get to gain the insights from employees. And I think that's a big eye opener for a lot of executives because they may be thinking in a certain fashion or in a certain manner, and maybe their folks aren't aligned with that, or maybe their folks have other suggestions or other ideas. And, you know, hopefully your leader has, you know, an abundant mentality to accept, you know, all sorts of feedback and ideas and can enhance what they're working on or what they're trying to say with what they're hearing from their own people, right? And they can also participate in platform-driven initiatives. So if you have initiatives that you're pushing out, maybe something on, you know, health and safety or sustainability, environmental awareness or something like that, they can talk about, you know, what they're doing, or they can play a role and say, well, here's what I did, or here's what I'm going to do. So get them to really, you know, play as an employee as well, right? So, you know, you can really get your leadership involved, and you can also include them in the planning process. You as stakeholders, you know, can definitely, you know, float the idea with them and then, you know, see how they want it set up, see what their comfort level is to play. And then also think about the different types of content and programming that they would like to push through and say, you know what, this would be a great medium for me to talk about XYZ, right? So definitely this will help you to spark the conversation and bridge that gap there as well. And you can certainly entice them with how it's going to help them drive the operation of the company forward faster, right? It's going to help them increase growth. And that, at the end of the day, when you add everything up, will directly impact the bottom line of your company as well. So you can really, really let your leaders not only get involved, but also drive your specific initiatives, right? They can record videos, they can write articles, and that helps convey the message for you as well as a stakeholder. So, I always say, announce this from the top down, so that way it shows support, senior leadership support from the very top. And this can be done across a variety of themes or subjects, right? So maybe you've got a plan to innovate your industry in 2021. Maybe you're going to become more sustainable, environmentally conscious. Maybe you want to make a commitment to diversity and inclusion. But you can get really specific with your timelines and your goals and really kind of explain all that. Maybe you're announcing a new product, right, for next year, or exciting customer initiatives that's going to change how your company is perceived in the market. So again, the possibilities here are super endless, right? But the point is really sort of letting your leaders do the talking, let them drive a lot of that from the top down. This makes you a hero as a stakeholder as well. This kind of, leads into the previous webinar that where we were discussing, how to plan and effectively budget for an employee experience platform. Well, when you do things like this and you get leaders involved, then you're going to get the budget because it becomes this critical tool. It becomes this must-have. So that definitely cuts a lot of red tape and lets leaders be heard, and you as a stakeholder to continue your programming and also further your role and your profile inside of the company as well. So definitely encourage your leaders to get creative, right? Even if it's just recording a quick video. I mean, your employees will appreciate that so much. It doesn't have to be formal. I think gone are the days where executives had to sit in the studio with a fancy advertising agency and all these, studio lights and a script and, sit there and do these sort of canned pre-recorded videos. I think that's all out the window now. I mean, you can certainly do that stuff, but employees appreciate authenticity, right? I know in our company, it means a lot to our employees when leaders just talk to them like normal humans and, record a video, just kind of sitting in the den of your house, right? And, you're sitting there in your sweatshirt and you're locked down and there's not much you can do or nowhere you can go, but you can start really kind of talking about, the things that you're doing and your ideas for the company. And then employees feel, they feel connected to their leaders, right? They're just like us, right? So it's like, it's like that old adage of, hey, celebrities, they're just like that. They're like us, right? They go to the grocery store, they do this, they do that, they got kids in school. It's just like that with your leadership. I think if you can level the playing field there and show that empathy and those similarities, your employees are bound to have a better overall, view of their leaders. They're more likely to recognize them. They're more likely to listen to them and also be engaged with what they're saying and want to do what they're being told to do and how to move forward in their careers in the company as well. One-on-one communications. This is a super powerful and popular tactic right now. But allowing your employees to communicate with their senior leaders. This is something that's really interesting right now. And there are several ways to achieve this, depending on your leader's own style and comfort level, right? So at a very high level, anything that your leaders or you post on their behalf can have comments, they can like, you can have sharing enabled. And what that does is allows employees to show and voice their thoughts on whatever it is that you're talking about, right? So we have CEOs of major global corporations that will turn this feature on because they really want to hear from employees in real time what their thoughts are, right? They don't want filtered stuff that came out of an employee engagement survey or something that some third-party agency did. They really kind of want those raw tidbits, right? Where they want to find those nuggets of gold there, right? And they want to know, like, the stuff that I'm putting out to you as a leader, how does it feel to you? Is this right? I can test and I can, I can put out a lot of ideas and they may not even be formalized, but maybe I'll be able to just kind of test the waters and see, is this something that's good, right? Or not good, right? So I can really, really kind of eliminate all the different, longer role, traditional programming, strategies, and just kind of go straight to it and get that feedback very, very quickly. Now, if your leadership is not comfortable doing that, there are other ways to collect this insightful information as well, right? So one idea is you can send out a survey, right, in the form of, quote unquote, ask the CEO, right, like you see here on screen. So what this does is allow employees to voice their questions and feedback in a more structured environment that allows for full documentation and follow-up of the query itself, right? So that way you can really get deep, and if you really kind of want to write a report and document it and make it formal, and do that on behalf of your leader. Maybe your leader doesn't have time to sit there and create a survey or things like that. You're going to do it on his or her behalf. But then you're going to get that feedback and that information and be able to show that to your leader as well, and present that. That's also very, very powerful, and you can do this extremely fast using a platform like HubEngage as well. You can also allow your employees to just like and share, maybe not comment on the content, so it always yields a positive result. And your leaders feel like their efforts are being received well, and they're also echoed throughout the digital universe that we all have to live in today, right? So you can see here on screen, this company has something where they can ask the CEO. He records videos. I think he's got one here on an initiative, International Women's Day, and why hashtag each for equal matters. What does that mean? And look at the comments, right? You see all the comments from folks saying that they like the conversation, they're hashtagging, they're emojiing, they're sharing, all this kind of stuff. I mean, this is really just powerful, right? It's really word of mouth marketing from your employees to further your employer brand and really push the needle on all the great stuff that you're already doing inside of the company, right? So using a platform like HubEngage is really, to supercharge, all the programming that you're already doing right now, right? We want to put it on steroids and get it out there and make sure you're getting engagement and getting the value out of creating this type of content, right? Coming up with a program like, hashtag each for equal matters and, having, shooting these videos and all this kind of stuff, that takes a lot of time and preparation. So you really want to make sure it's getting out there and folks are getting, the right appreciation for it as well. Now, possibly the greatest thing a leader can do today is to give kudos and recognition to employees fast, right? Now, these can be folks who go the extra mile or above and beyond to perform the mission, vision, and values of the organization the best. This can be highlighting heroes, as you see in this example, with a thank you video, or maybe sharing a story about someone to make them feel special and appreciated for the job they do every day for you and their customers as well. So, I mean, this is extremely powerful, right? I mean, if you can get a video from your CEO talking about you, and it goes out to the entire company, or even segmented to a department or a region where it makes the most sense. Remember, everything works on segmentation, so you're tailoring that content to the right folks. It's very powerful, right? And in today's day and age and in the pandemic, I think we all need recognition. Recognition is so important right now. We all need that extra pat on the back. We all need the attaboys and the kudos. That's going to inspire your employees to get up every day and step up to the plate and do their jobs better. So using recognition, using rewards, shout outs, all that kind of stuff inside of this platform, super important for leaders. Definitely encourage leaders to do that proactively. Another huge benefit of using an employee experience platform is to keep your leaders connected together. So this is really just getting that senior leadership to talk, laterally, right, side to side, so not top down. And you might have specially segmented content that only they will see and interact with. So you can use this feature to keep leadership productive and aligned with other leaders inside of your organizations. So even just by enabling something, as simple as instant messaging, right, and doing group messaging, senior leaders can start these group chats. They can privately share and talk about whatever they wish, all that sort of stuff. It's all inside of your platform. But at the same time, You can also segment information. So in menus and submenus, maybe they're just seeing content that's only going to senior leaders. Really, really granular, very, very specific. So it's not going out to every single employee, and it can be eyes only for senior executives. So keeping your senior leaders connected and talking to each other laterally instead of just vertically. If they can do that horizontally across the organization as well, using a platform like this is super powerful. And remember, wherever your content lives, your leaders can promote that content for you and link directly to its location, or via integrations, you may have them installed, in different places. If you've got these integrations going, you can point your folks directly to where they need to go. Maybe it's something super mission critical and for compliance. So if the boss says do it, your employees will listen. Or maybe it's just something for fun, but your leaders need to give it a little nudge here and there to get them to engage and participate. You can certainly do that. And we do lots of, at Hub Engage, we do lots and lots of different integrations into legacy systems. So this could be across a variety of initiatives, different features and content that you're pushing, but it could also be for the very basic things, right? Like payroll, benefits. Hey, it's the end of the year, it's open enrollment time, make sure, if you need to update your health insurance or dental insurance coverage, you need to put in your schedules, time off for next year, all that kind of stuff, you can certainly do that. So, all these systems can be, deep linked or integrated directly inside of your employee experience platform. It's a great idea to have your executives then, push people and send people in the right direction. And of course, you can play on their behalf as well, right? So as a stakeholder, you can certainly post things, for them if they don't have time to do it, even though it's coming from them. So you can create these personas or profiles, if you will, of your executives inside of the platform as well. So just kind of summing it all up, right? It's very clear that executives have a role to play in today's working environment, no matter what industry you're coming from, right? But they need to actively engage, right? Your leaders have to actively post content, participate in initiatives. They've got to invite feedback. They have to recognize their employees, particularly in these unusual times that we live in. So having an employee experience platform in place will help facilitate these actions for your leaders. And at the end of the day, when they are involved and they're heard, they will become heroes. And that furthers their own personal leadership brand to the whole world as well. So they definitely will get a huge benefit out of it as well. So with that, I think we're gonna just kind of wrap it up. I do have a bunch of questions that were kind of submitted by some folks in advance. So, and I think we're doing great on time. So I'm gonna go ahead and tackle a couple of these questions, and we've got them right up here as well on screen, so you can read them. So the first one is, our leadership is quite worried about exposing themselves to negative comments or people shaming them using digital platforms. Now, how can we assure to them that this won't happen? So yeah, this is certainly an understandable concern, and one we've definitely seen in the past with some of our clients, particularly the enterprise clients, at the bigger scale. Because it can seem daunting, right? When you've got tens of thousands of employees, it'll be hard to police what they're saying 24 hours a day, and you don't want your executives to look bad, right? I mean, that would totally defeat the whole purpose of running an initiative like this. So I would say, that there are many ways to solicit comments and feedback from your employees based on that content that your leadership is posting, where you've had a chance to moderate and publish employees' comments, right? Now, if you're using a platform like Hub Engage, you can certainly enable and disable comments based on the individual specific content piece that is being pushed out. So for example, maybe you've got some content where it's more likely to solicit a positive response, right? Like something great that happened, something you did for your community, a social cause, something like that. You can enable comments there, right? But maybe you've got some stuff that's not the greatest of news, right? And you want folks to submit feedback privately for that one. So you can do that content by content, on a content by content basis. Now, you can also have your employees comment on content that has been submitted using storytelling modules, right? Now, in this case, any content that comes into the platform would get moderated by, your admins first, and then you can decide whether you want to edit that content, republish it back into the platform for everybody else to see. Another way to do it is to create a specific initiative, just like you saw in some of the examples. Ask the CEO, create almost like a survey and have them fill out that form where they can ask questions or maybe rate leadership in a more private setting. Then you can look back on that as an administrator and analyze those metrics and that open-ended content that comes back to you in the form of that feedback. So there are many ways to be creative and allow your leadership to expose themselves without fear or worry that there could be negative repercussions. I've seen enterprises of all shapes and sizes do this effectively with very, very minimal problems, no problems at all. So it's definitely doable. Okay, next question. If we use the platform like HubEngage, can we see metrics on how leaders are being rated? For example, if they are posting or if there is feedback. Absolutely, right? And in the case of HubEngage, we give you all sorts of metrics based on not only how your employees are commenting, liking, sharing content. We're not only monitoring all those metrics in real time, but we also give you some proprietary feedback scores as well, right? So we've got some advanced AI, artificial intelligence capabilities built into how we look at our metrics. And we can show you things like employee intent, right? So our system can automatically identify key trigger words that tell you what people are thinking. And then you can see all this without actually even doing the analysis, downloading or, metrics and adding up the numbers, because we're able to give you that right up front, right? And I think that's actually a key differentiator between our platform and other platforms that are out there, in the sense that we're not just giving you, the tools and tracking things for you. We're also doing the real-time analysis for you automatically. That's going to help you save time so that by using an intelligent platform, you can then be more productive and get to the bigger picture a lot faster. So yeah, all sorts of metrics available to you. And again, giving you some of those advanced feedback scores, satisfaction, employee engagement, knowledge scoring, employee intent, all this kind of stuff is going to help you to make better decisions in the future, and also let the leaders know, how they're performing, how their stuff is being perceived. You'll be able to track these metrics. It's all part of the journey that you do over time, right, using the platform. Does having leadership participate mean that we have to implement custom features or pay extra for them to play in the game? No, not at all, right? So when you use a platform like HubEngage, we typically include all the features you need right up front. So basically, your leaders are using features inside of the platform just like any other employee, right? So in this case, it's just in this case, you're creating specific menus and sub-menus and areas for them to stand out and highlight what they're talking about versus the rest of the general employee population. You're really kind of just distilling and extracting that and bumping it up, right, in the hierarchy. And there's no additional cost to doing this, right? And those of you who are existing customers and have the platform right now, you guys can get started on this tactic right away, right? It's really easy to do this. And we can certainly help you definitely, bring this up in your engagement meetings, or talk to, file support tickets, or reach out to your contacts at HubEngage so that they can help you, come up with this programming and give you some best practices for your specific industry as well to get you started on that. Okay, I think we have time for maybe one more question. Can anything a leader posts, let's say we had an announcement on financial results, be shared with the outside world? We wouldn't want that in that example. Yeah, so that's really a great question, right? So in general, you're going to decide what your employee should do with any piece of content that comes through our system. And I totally get it, right, guys? I know that there's always this fear of, oh, what if this information gets out to the public world, and what if a reporter gets it and it's negative information, and then an article gets written or something like that. So this is where you have full control in the platform over your users, your content, what they do with that platform, what you're allowing them to do. Can they download documents? Can they share it? All that kind of stuff. You're in full control of all of that. So you definitely have those systems in place. But you might decide that, there's some news, something exciting, something your CEO or leadership is talking about, and it's great and it's a huge achievement for the company. And in that case, you want to enable external sharing so folks can easily share from the platform and share to their own external social networks like, Facebook, Twitter, Insta, whatever. But then, you may have some proprietary pieces on the other hand of content that's bad news, right? Maybe sales went down or you had a rough year, but that still needs to be communicated. And you really don't want that to be amplified to the outside world. So in that case, you're just going to disable the external sharing part. Maybe you decide on a case-by-case basis that you might want to enable internal sharing. So that would just be sharing to other employees that are inside of the platform. So these are approved employees that are authorized to use your platform. And they're all inside of your company only. But again, in general, your platform, whatever platform you're using, should give you the flexibility to decide on a case-by-case basis what folks should do with that content. So that way, you can be very specific and enable or disable broadcasting of any type of information that you're pushing throughout the platform. Okay, I think we're just about wrapping it up for today. I certainly hope it was useful to you. If you do have further questions or you'd like to simply chat about how we can help you move the needle on the employee experience platform for communications and engagement, definitely drop me a line at my email on the screen. I'm happy to chat about this stuff and really listen to you and hear your specific use cases and what you have in mind, and give you some advisory support on how you can use a platform like this. You can also visit our website for more information, follow our blog. Every week we're adding new articles, thought leadership on a variety of topics relating to the employee experience. And we'll be doing probably at least 2 more webinars this year. So stay tuned for announcements on those topics. And if you have any suggestions for future programming, maybe there's something you're thinking about, please shoot me a note, right? We'll consider those topics for the future as well. So we can definitely, cater to the things that you want to hear about as well. So with that, thank you again, everyone. Bye for now.